Welcome to my channel, The Binge Eating Therapist. I'm Sarah, former binge eater turned psychotherapist, and my mission is to use this space to bring content to you to help you understand your struggle with food and break free from binge eating. And today's video is an interview with Tash Ngindi. Now, Tash is a Canadian anti-diet nutritionist and body image activist. So she is very passionate about helping people to improve their body image and reach a place of body acceptance or body positivity. And in this interview, we talk about the difference between body acceptance and body positivity and how we might think about that in a way that's useful. And Tash shares with us her journey of body image and some very practical advice and tips of where to start if you are someone who is looking to improve your body image. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Hi Tash, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me today.
Of course. Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. Now I think the first thing I want to ask you is I noticed on your bio, you call yourself a body image activist.
Yes.
What is a body image activist? Who doesn't know what that means?
Okay, well, basically it's my life's image to just talk about body acceptance and spread those positive messages to everyone, because I feel like as we kind of grow up and get exposed to the media, we lose love for our own bodies and we compare ourselves to others so much. So I kind of just want to motivate people to love themselves as they are.
Yeah, I love that. And I understand you've been on your own journey with body
Mm-hmm.
image, body acceptance, body positivity. Could you maybe share with us like what your journey was?
Okay. Well, my journey started in South Africa. That's where I was raised. And then I came to Canada when I was about 8. And so in South Africa, I saw a lot of people that looked like me. I never felt uncomfortable about being a chubby kid because I always was. Even though I was active and my mom was always making like amazing food, I was just a chubby child. And so coming to Canada and being around totally different people, I realized that, oh my gosh, I don't think I fit in. I don't look like anyone. How am I ever going to be loved? How am I going to get friends? All those things. So I kind of got that little voice in me when I was still in elementary school. And as I got through school, by the end of high school, I was really miserable in my body. And I fell for someone who told me that I should lose 50 pounds and then maybe I would be more attractive.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so I didn't take that as a sign that I should maybe find someone who actually likes me. And I decided that I was going to go on an intense weight loss journey. And so I was totally restricting my calories, basically starving every day. And over exercising. I would exercise 6 times a week, sometimes twice a day. And I just got very deep into healthism to the point where I started judging people who couldn't keep up with that same kind of lifestyle. And I was like, what? People should want to be healthy, like blah, blah, blah. I got really bad into it. And at the same time, our society was just kind of affirming those thoughts because people finally started accepting me. People were complimenting me. Guys did like me more. So I was kind of like, okay, so fat definitely equals bad. And so I got into nutrition because I was very passionate about it. And with time, as I stopped being able to diet and work out 6 times a week, because it's not that realistic, I gained the weight back. And that was just horrible because nutrition can be such a judgmental field. And we have this image that we're all supposed to uphold of being thin and beautiful. And it was just very hard gaining all the weight back and being so out of control about it, even though I wasn't really doing anything unusual. It's just that I was eating again. And so I was so unhappy with myself. I ended up going to a dietitian and I let her know, like, hey, I gained all this weight back plus more. Can you please help me? And so instead of helping me with weight loss, she introduced me to the concept of intuitive eating. And I'm so thankful for that because it changed my life. And it changed my life so much that I decided to go on Instagram and kind of share the journey and share everything I was learning with people, everything I was learning with her. I decided to share with other people because I knew how much it transformed my life. And I kind of wanted to share the same thing with other people. And as I've grown to surround myself with people that are body positive and believe in the same kind of things, my own image has just increased so much. And it's been really amazing being able to share that journey with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you for that. So, bearing in mind you went to see the dietitian, because you wanted to lose weight. How did she manage to convince you to give that up? Because I'm guessing this was something that was really important to you for such a long time, right?
It really was. The way she explained her approach was appealing, and I was at rock bottom, and I had told her I was at rock bottom. So I feel like at that point I was willing to try anything because she was just saying, like, this is a different way of eating. Maybe you haven't heard of it. I can't promise that you're going to lose weight or gain weight, or your weight might just stay the same. But if you really want to be healthy, this is a direction we can go.
But basically, it really appealed to you. You said you hit rock bottom, so it sounds like you were just ready for something new. And I think I see that a lot. It's like you have to get really, really tired of trying to change. It has to become too painful to keep changing, I think, to be willing to entertain the idea of letting go of that idea that life would be so much better with weight loss.
Exactly. That's the only way that you're willing to see the other direction, because if you're still so deeply entrenched, it can sound really terrifying, and it doesn't make sense for someone to say you can eat anything you want. That just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. So then when you've decided to kind of like make peace with your body, how does that journey begin? From when you first of all think, okay, this is what I need to do. A lot of people are, I think, quite stuck on how to implement it. So I'm wondering what that was like for you.
Okay. Well, wait, let me restart that. I think the biggest thing that I did was just finding other people in the same community. So I followed a lot of accounts that were about health at every size, intuitive eating, just a lot of anti-diet warriors. And I followed the way that they lived their lives and the tips that they shared with their followers. So one thing that I really loved was affirmations, and I still do them to this day. So I'll just tell myself certain things about my body, whether or not I actually believe it in that moment, because I know that the more I tell myself that, the more I will believe it. And it's just so much better to put all those good messages in your brain instead of always cycling negative thoughts. And then also just finding a new community on Instagram really helped, because I stopped comparing myself to all the fit inspiration pages that are always pushing weight loss and pushing over exercising. I just totally got out of that, and that made the biggest difference, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Are you willing to share any of your affirmations? You don't have to if they're private, if they're yours.
No, they're private. I can't.
What about some that you might help with clients, or like other ones that you've seen other people use? What might be some ones that you think are good ones?
Okay, really good ones. Okay, well, I'll give a format for one. If I really hate my thighs or my legs, maybe I'll say, I love my legs because they help me do. And then I'll think of activities and different functions that are essential that apply to the body part that I'm hating on. So, yes, I love my legs because they help me instruct a Zumba.
Yeah. I like that because it's really about looking at the body as a tool more than just what it looks like. So it sounds like you had to really take care of the kind of things that you were consuming? By things, I mean like social media, and we live surrounded by these diet culture messages, right? So how did you navigate that? Because I appreciate we can't change, well, we're trying to change the culture. That's what being a body image activist is, right? But like ultimately we have to try and navigate our way through conversations, through like politicians telling us to lose weight and social media. And like, for you, what are the things that you were able to do or that other people might be able to do to look after themselves?
Okay. Well, apart from affirmations, because you have to start with the inside, within social situations, I feel like I don't like talking about diet talk. I've kind of set those boundaries up with my family, my friends, and my coworkers, because I think there's so many more interesting things that we can talk about besides our bodies. So I kind of just always try to change the topic at hand. Another thing that I did was find enjoyable movement. So as I said earlier, I'm a Zumba instructor. And it was really nice to shift away from classes with instructors that were constantly yelling weight loss tips and just pushing us.
Yeah, and you burn so many calories, feel the burn, all that.
So I kind of just shifted away from all of that and put myself in an exercise that's just fun. And it's not about how many calories you burn. Of course, you'll burn calories, but no one is yelling at you about weight loss the whole time. So just really trying to surround yourself with those good messages, good people, have fun.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? And I think particularly when it comes to shutting people down or those conversations, that is so hard, right?
It's
like when
very
it's
hard.
And also this is stuff that's really important to other people. So I had a situation with a friend who was really talking about how unhappy with her body she was. She was trying to lose weight, and she's quite a bit smaller than me. And this comes out, I don't know for you whether you hear this with your clients, but people will often say to me, like, it almost feels like a personal attack when someone who's in a smaller body says that they think they're too big. The other person's thinking, well, what the hell do you think about me if you think you're too big?
Exactly.
Right? And so it's one of those things that I think doesn't really bother me that much, because I appreciate that it is about the other person. It's not about me. But with this friend, it was a really good friend. And I just said to her, I said, considering like my body's bigger than your body and you want your body to be smaller because you're not happy about it, I said, it does make me wonder what you see when you look at my body. And she said to me, I just see someone who's really comfortable in their skin. And she said it's so like off the cuff. She wasn't, we're good friends. So like she wasn't offended by it, overthink it. And I thought, I really think that that is what she sees. And she said it with like almost envy. And I just thought that was,
wow.
Really? Yeah.
That is such a different perspective, because I've always thought, oh man, they just hate fat bodies because of how much they hate their body. But you're saying that there was someone who really was like, no, you're confident. And that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think
it doesn't come with weight loss.
I know. There's so much I could say, but I won't talk about her on social media. But yeah, so many people that, they think it's about the body and they change and they don't. And do you get people that will come to you? And so I get this, people will come to me and say, look, I've been smaller and I know that being thin makes me happy because I was happier when I was smaller.
Oh my God.
Do you ever hear that?
I feel like even though people know that I'm a non-diet nutritionist, I'll get people who come with those concerns right away and say like, oh, I just want to be smaller. It's like, oh man, we have a lot of unpacking to do.
Yeah, but there's always weight conflict, right? Like even people who in their thinking mind have decided, okay, I want to accept my body. I know that pursuing weight loss doesn't make me happier. There's still that part though, isn't it? That's been so conditioned.
There is. And for sure, even I felt that way sometimes. Like when I look back at my photos of being so much smaller, I'm like, oh, I did look so good. And then it's like, no, 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 that was not so good. What were you doing to be in that body? Was that really your body? Is it ideal if you can't even go to a birthday party? Is it ideal if you have anxiety attacks of going out to eat with your friends? Like, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just hard.
Yeah. At some point, like the cost outweighs the, I want to do that now, reward.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, affirmations being one way, that idea of kind of trying to replace the thoughts that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things, or like other, I mean, I don't know if you have like exercises or homework that you give to people for this kind of thing, if they want to start?
Well, I feel like one thing is really looking at yourself holistically. So, not just focusing on your body, but being like, okay, am I getting enough sleep? And all of the other things that can make you feel really good about your body. Like, are you taking care of yourself? What are different nice things that you can do? So, really just not thinking about your body and just focusing on all the good things that you can.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for you, like, I'm going to assume that like most people, your body image waxes and wanes. It doesn't stay static,
Mm-hmm,
right?
for sure.
But was there a point for you where you thought, like now I really get it. I get what it is to still feel good in my body, even though my body hasn't changed?
I honestly think that it's just with time, as I've done more and more intuitive eating and engaged in more enjoyable exercise, that I've been like, wow, this is amazing. Like, if I really listen to my body, it has so much wisdom. It can tell me when I'm really hungry, and it will tell me when I'm full. If I have any cravings, I allow myself to have those foods, and then I satisfy those cravings. So it's really nice to not feel the need to binge. Um, it's just really amazing when you look at your body, because that's how we were supposed to eat, like intuitive eating. We're born that way. But then as time goes, like we talked about, things change. And so it's just been really rewarding to go back to that way of eating. And then same with enjoyable movement. Like, it's nice to not feel tortured.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to move your body in ways that actually feel really good, because then you do want to push yourself, but it's good. It's nice. There's no force at all. And I think that just not having any resistance with my body, and kind of seeing my body as my home, as my friend, and just taking care of it that way has just been really amazing for seeing myself differently.
Yeah. And so you've had a challenging relationship with exercise. You mentioned how you would over
Mm-hmm.
exercise a lot. Was that easier than food to make the transition with exercise from over exercising to finding joyful movement? Was that an easy journey for you, or were there kind of ups and downs with that?
It was kind of hard, because I had to allow myself not to think about calories anymore. And that was really, really hard, because that would be my motivation for working out. I'll be like, oh man, if I'm not gonna burn 700 calories, what's the point? Like, is this gonna be that much fun? Am I even gonna feel the workout? But once I got past that part of, you don't just have to exercise for maximum calorie loss, it got a lot better. But then consistency was really hard, because I didn't want to be working out 6 times or more a week. So even when I allowed myself to not do that, it got hard, because then I just wouldn't even want to exercise sometimes for months. And so it took a few years, I would say, to get to a good spot with exercise and finding something enjoyable that I don't feel guilty for.
Mm-hmm. So given that these things take time, I think what happens to a lot of people is they find intuitive eating or body acceptance, and they're like, yeah, and they start doing it, but all the old thinking and all the old feelings are there, and they keep pulling them back, and then eventually they just throw their hands up and go, this is too hard. I'm just going to kind of stay and pursue the weight loss. what do you think kept you on that path when, like, the old thinking must have been really strong?
Yeah, it really was. I really think that just reflecting on how I was feeling in that moment and what I had to do to get there has been the biggest thing for me, because it just really was not a good time. I was not in a good mental space. So whenever I feel like I need to go back there, I'm like, okay, girl, what was your life like then? What is your life like now? Do you really need to do all of that to get to this place that you think is your original weight? But it's not. Things shift, things change all the time. So I kind of have compassion for myself when I feel that way. And I just do things that I love doing to kind of just distract myself from all those thoughts. Because it's hard and you just kind of have to ride out all those emotions.
Yeah. I really like what you said then about having compassion for yourself when you feel that way again. I think for a lot of people, like me included, it could feel like you've gone back to square one. The old stuff comes
Yeah,
back. It just feels like all that work, all that progress you thought you'd made was for nothing. And that's why I think
yeah.
I personally, like most people, even people that don't really struggle with body image, see their
Mhm.
bodies slightly different from day to day. I think it's fascinating.
Exactly.
Like some days I
That is
look in
so
the
true.
mirror and I look smaller, and other days I look bigger, and I know my body hasn't changed. What is that all about? You've got the answer to that one. I'd love
I
to
have
know.
no idea. It's crazy. But I know how you feel. I'll be like, oh my gosh, what happened? But literally nothing happened. I don't know how our brain plays tricks like that on us. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's strange, but for me, that's what I use. I suppose my
Hmm.
affirmation, if you like. I don't use exact like affirmations as such, but like
Yeah.
I can remind myself
Mhm.
that I can look and feel different in my body. So therefore,
Yeah.
it's not my body. It's something else.
Hmm.
Really
Hmm.
finding the language to try and understand that. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I have that. But,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
mhm. So then, this is my curiosity. In your mind,
Hmm.
what is the difference, if there is one, between body acceptance and body positivity?
Okay. Well, I think that body positivity is kind of more of an end game kind of thing. It's not something that we all have to get to, because I think that when people look at body positivity, they're like, oh my God, I can't just love my body. I can't be obsessed with my body every single day. And that's fair. Like, not everyone has to get there. But as long as you can get to a space of body acceptance where it's like, okay, I might not love the way my body looks every single day. It might not be my thing to be overly positive, but I'm not trying to change my body anymore. I accept it as the way it is. I appreciate everything it does for me. And, I'm a human being that deserves all the good things. So I think that being in a place where you accept it is better to strive for than just positivity if you are not close to being there yet. It's a good start.
Yeah, yeah. I
How do
think
you see it?
yeah, it's an interesting one because I think body positivity, I get because there's so many accusations around as well with body
Hmm.
positivity because it's a political
Hmm.
movement as well, and where people are feeling like it's being co-opted by people who it's not for. Like this idea that body positivity actually came from like black women, and I don't know
Hmm.
how true it is,
Hmm.
but like I don't know what your thoughts are kind of around that, and this idea of this sort of territorial nature of the body
Yeah.
positivity space, which I just doesn't happen with body acceptance. I feel like body acceptance, it's
That is
safe for
so
everyone to love that.
true. That is very true. Yeah, it's true. Well, with body positivity coming from Black women, it's just kind of because from in the history of time, Black people's bodies have just been scrutinized. People have not approved of them. And so, because of all of that, we haven't felt safe in our bodies. We get harassed all the time. So, body positivity is almost like hands in hands with Black Lives Matter, because if if we're being body positive, we can't do that without Black bodies mattering too. And so that's kind of how the whole movement was born, because Black women were tired of being treated that way. And so we wanted a reform.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that sounds really important. Are there
Mm-hmm.
things that annoy you that you see in the body positivity posts on Instagram that people do? Are there posts that you sometimes look at and you think,
Yeah.
hell no, I'm not, that's not comfortable with me? What kind of stuff gives you that reaction?
That reaction, okay. I don't know if it's bad of me, but if I see someone that is like very socially acceptable and they're like a bikini model or something, and then they pinch like a tiny bit of skin and they're like, you can be strong too, I'm body positive, we can all get there together. I'm like, your body's actually totally acceptable. A lot of us cannot relate to the way you look, and it really is not inspiring at all. But then again, I also have to remember that no matter what body someone is in, they can have really negative feelings about it. So, like, she really might have had a really big journey with her body, even though she still looks socially acceptable. So it's kind of hard because I have to balance that where I'm like, I don't feel like this is genuine. I don't. But then also you're still a person. It's hard.
Yeah, it is a tricky one because I've worked with a lot of people who are in the ideal white, thin body type, society's ideal, who loathe their body. Like, it's so uncomfortable and see something so different. And then on the flip side of it, the reality is they're in a body that society already loves.
Exactly.
So that, I see what you're saying about like kind of that swing between the two. Like, we don't want to negate the individual experience, but there is a wider message and perhaps a wider issue here that is important to say and to kind of speak up about. But yeah, I have a very conscious decision that I don't show my body on Instagram at all. Like, I don't think there's a single full-length shot of my body. And part of that's like, and I may change in the future, that's not, but at the moment it's a conscious decision because I'm a therapist and I'm all about like up here and the emotions as well. And I kind of, at the moment, don't want it to be about my body. So I don't know what people imagine goes on from the shoulder down, or whether they even care, because that's the other thing, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I'm like, it really shouldn't be a big deal because who cares? It's not the point of your message.
Yeah.
And if someone is really trying to imagine what your body looks like, they need to ask themselves questions about why they feel the need to do that.
But I was thinking, like, just in society as well, like, who cares? A lot of the time, the majority of people don't care. They're always gonna, and like, I appreciate because you've expressed that, Black women tend to have their bodies commented upon and whatever. So I might be talking from a slightly white privileged place here. But that idea that people will be walking down the street and if they're so uncomfortable in their body, they think everybody's making judgments about their body. And like, most people are not noticing it.
That is so true.
And a little bit like, my friend, and I was like, well, what do you see when you see your body? I'm like, she's like, well, I just see someone who's comfortable. She's not scrutinizing my body in the way that I certainly have done. But yeah, so I think you've shared some really interesting and really helpful stuff today, and I hope that people get something out of it. In terms of somebody who has seen the body acceptance stuff, is ready to kind of say, okay, like, pursuing weight loss isn't working for me anymore. Where would you suggest somebody like that start? Like, what's the first thing to do to begin this journey to self-acceptance, maybe with an end goal of body positivity?
Well, I can say what helped for me. And what helped for me was lots of education. So trying to understand, okay, what are these happy people that love their bodies so much? What are they talking about? So I can maybe see things their way too. So just lots of education. And then next would be the social media thing, because we are always, always, always consuming social media. And all those messages can hurt us, even if we're not really aware of it. Um, and then when you're kind of controlling all the external factors, I would really try to internalize it and apply it to yourself. And then that's where all the affirmations come in, maybe journaling about your body and just finding people that you can talk about the whole journey with really makes a big difference. So I would say that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I once had someone share to me that, so there's often used exercise of writing a letter to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said that they were once like advised to write a letter from your body to you.
Oh.
So you're talking from the body. It just popped into my head when you were talking then. And and they were really surprised at all the stuff that came up. And I just think that, you know, when you said journaling, I think that's what it made.
I've never heard of that before. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it's kind of making your body speak, but like imagining what your body would say.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it would be like, I've always been there for you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tash. I really appreciate it. And
Thanks again for having me.
Keep up the good work. I'm going to link to all your stuff below, so people
Mm-hmm.
can find you on Instagram or go to your website. Okay, brilliant. Okay, thank you, Tash.
Okay, bye. Thank you.